Have you ever really stopped to think about why stuff is the way it is? I mean, why does a metal fork feel so different from a plastic one? Or why does a ceramic mug just totally shatter when you drop it, but a metal spoon just gets a little bent? The world around us is packed with all these incredible materials, and every single one has its own unique personality. So, let's dive in and uncover the hidden science that explains what makes stuff, well, stuff.
Okay, let's look at two big families here. On one side, you've got metals. Things like gears, scissors, the coins in your pocket. They're strong, they're usually shiny, and you can bend them or shape them without them snapping. Then, on the other side, you have polymers, what most of us just call plastics. Think about a bicycle helmet, or a milk jug, or even the wheels on a lawnmower. They're super lightweight and crazy versatile, but they act in a completely different way.
So what's the deal? What is the fundamental difference here? Why is one of these materials perfect for a super high-stress part inside an engine, while the other is the go-to choice for disposable milk jug? It sounds like a simple question, right? But the answer is where things get really, really cool.
To solve this little mystery, we can't just stay on the surface. We have to take a journey. We have to go way, way down, past what we can see, past what a normal microscope can see, all the way down to the atomic level, because that's where the real secrets are hiding.
So our first stop on this journey is understanding that materials have layers of structure. You can almost think of it like one of those Russian nesting dolls. What we see on the outside is really just the beginning of the story.
See, a material's properties, how it behaves, aren't decided by just one thing. They're the result of its structure on all these different scales, from the big picture stuff our eyes can see, all the way down to the individual atoms themselves. Let's break down these levels.
First up, you've got the macrostructure. This is exactly what it sounds like, the big stuff, the things you can see and touch. The shape of a brick, the weave of your shirt. It's the most obvious level for sure, but it's not even close to the whole story.
So let's zoom in. Now we're at the microstructure. To see this, you need a microscope. Here, you'd be able to see things like the individual grain patterns in a piece of metal, or tiny little pores in a ceramic tile. And these details, they have a huge impact on how strong a material is and how it's going to behave.
But if you want to find the ultimate source code, you have to go all the way down to the atomic structure. This is it. This is how the individual atoms are arranged, and, this is the most important part, how they're all held together. This level, right here, is where the deepest secrets of our materials are kept.
So what exactly is holding all these atoms together? Well, you can think of it like different kinds of atomic superglue. And it turns out there are three main types of this glue. The kind of glue a material uses pretty much defines everything about it.
All right, first up is the ionic bond. This is the giver and taker bond. It usually happens when a metal atom meets a nonmetal atom. The metal atom is looking to get rid of an electron or two from its outer shell, and the nonmetal atom would be more than happy to take it.
The textbook example is table salt, sodium chloride. The sodium atom gives its lonely outer electron to the chlorine atom. Now, the sodium is a positive ion, and the chlorine is a negative ion. And what do we know about opposites? They attract. This powerful electrostatic force just locks them together in a super rigid structure.
Okay, next up, the covalent bond. Now, instead of one atom giving and one taking, this is the sharing is caring bond. Two atoms get together and decide to share their outer electrons so that both of them feel complete and stable. It's a real team effort.
Take a look at silicon, which is literally the heart of all our computer chips. Each silicon atom shares its electrons with 4 of its neighbors. This creates this incredibly strong, stable, and very directional network of bonds. It's the same kind of powerful bond that makes a diamond the hardest natural material on the entire planet.
And finally, we have the metallic bond. This one is, well, it's a bit of a weirdo, but it's awesome. In a metal, the outer electrons don't really belong to any single atom. They're not given away, they're not shared between two partners. Instead, they all detach and form this free-flowing sea of electrons that just surrounds a grid of positive metal ions.
You can see it right here. You've got these positive ions just kind of sitting in this cloud of shared mobile electrons. This electron sea acts like a really flexible glue. And here's the crucial part. Because that glue is all around them and not in one specific direction, it lets the atom cores slide past one another without the whole thing breaking apart.
So let's do a quick recap of our 3 atomic superglues. You've got ionic bonds, the electron stealers, which are the key to ceramics. You've got covalent bonds, the electron shares, which you find in ceramics and plastics.
And you have metallic bonds with that unique electron C, which is what makes metals, well, metals.
Okay, now we get to the good part. We understand the glues, so let's connect all this back to our original mystery. How do these tiny, invisible bonds create the properties that we can actually see and feel in the world around us?
A really good way to start figuring this out is to ask a pretty simple question. Which one of these atomic glues is actually the strongest? The answer to that question tells us a whole lot.
So this chart is showing us binding energy, which is just a fancy way of saying how much energy it takes to break the bond. And you can see it's not even close. Ionic and covalent bonds are way up there. They are seriously strong glues. Metallic bonds are strong but not in the same league.
So let's go back to our ceramics. Remember the brick, the teacup, the bathroom tile? We now know they're held together by those super strong ionic and covalent bonds.
So why do they shatter? Well, it's because those bonds are so powerful and so directional. They lock all the atoms into this really rigid fixed structure. So when you apply force, like dropping it on the floor, the atoms have no wiggle room. They can't just slide around. They can't bend. So instead, snap. The bonds just break and the whole thing shatters.
All right, now for the other side of the coin, our metals, the scissors, the gear, the spoon.
And why are they bendable, or what engineers call ductile? It all comes back to that amazing sea of electrons. Because that glue is non-directional, it's flowing all around, the positive atom cores can literally slip and slide past one another when you apply force. The material changes shape, but the bonds don't actually break. And just like that, case solved.
You know, this fundamental knowledge isn't just for explaining why things are the way they are, it's for creating new things. This is the secret recipe that scientists and engineers use every single day to design the world around us.
This flowchart here might look simple, but it is one of the most powerful ideas in all of engineering. It's called the materials paradigm, and it is the master blueprint for how we invent and improve pretty much every material you can think of in modern life.
Let's just walk through it real quick. It all starts with processing. That's how we make a material. By controlling that process, we get to control the structure. We're talking right down to the atomic bonds we just learned about. That structure then determines the material's properties. Is it strong? Is it flexible? And those properties, in turn, dictate the final performance. It's this beautiful chain reaction that all starts with the atoms.
So the next time you pick up literally any object, just take a second and remember that invisible world buzzing inside of it, that atomic structure, those bonds holding it all together. And now that you know the secret recipe that links how we make something to how it performs, what kind of material would you design to build a better future?